Hello, everyone, and welcome to this installment of Unbiased Media. I wanted to start this video first off by saying thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. In the past month, I think I had roughly 3 subscribers, and I'm up to close to 100. I think I might be over that now. And I got a lot of views and feedback on my last video. So I really wasn't expecting that. So thank you to everyone who liked it and left a comment. I really appreciate all the support. And secondly, I'm sorry that I haven't been putting out many videos recently. 2 weeks ago, I had my tonsils removed. So the last 2 weeks, I've kind of been just resting up and trying to get my voice and everything back to normal. So I'm almost there. So hopefully I can put out some more videos for you guys. Just some news articles that I find hypocritical or important that many people aren't hearing about. During my hiatus, I wasn't really up on everything that was happening in the news. I was doing my best, but I was feeling kind of miserable. Just today, I had heard about this story. I saw people talking about it on Facebook, and I started seeing a few articles from some of the YouTube channels that I watch for news information. But the topic is of this 5-year-old boy who was murdered pretty much execution style by his neighbor in North Carolina. So it's just a terrible story, but there was a 5-year-old boy who was playing in his front yard with his 2 sisters. And apparently the next door neighbor, from reports that I've seen, it seems like they were saying that he ran over or kind of like rushed over to the child and then put a gun to his head and just executed this young boy. So the young boy's name is Cannon Hinnant. It's just a terrible story. What's just as terrible as this story is the fact that a lot of these major news outlets aren't even talking about it. Some of you may not have even heard of this story, which is just terrible. So apparently this happened, I believe it was August 9th. And this young boy was playing in his front yard with his 2 sisters, and the next door neighbor ran over and just executed this innocent little boy. And it's just terrible because not only is this the murder of an innocent child who was just playing with his brother or his 2 sisters, but also the fact that there's a racial narrative as to why, or a racial bias, I guess I should say, as to why the mainstream media is not covering this topic. The young boy, Cannon Hinnant, was white, and the next door neighbor that killed him was a black man. And the mainstream media has, they've left it up to people to make these speculations, but these speculations are based on time and time again of the mainstream media pushing all these racial stories anytime that it's white on black crime. But there's been so many instances of black on white crime that just goes unreported. It's not, you barely see it. You have to do your own research to find it. And it's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, there's articles after articles of stories that people don't even hear of. And I think that's part of the reason why my last video got the popularity that it did, because I bet a lot of people didn't even hear about that story. And this is just another instance. And it's just terrible to me because the race shouldn't matter. It should be, we're going to report this because this is a terrible story and we think people need to hear about it. Whether a story is covered or not should not be based on, does it fit the racial narrative that we need to push in order to manipulate the way that people think. And that's exactly what happened with this story. I tried Googling the story information about it. CNN, they actually did have a couple stories about it, or a couple articles. The one I'm seeing seems like it's just like a follow-up that the shooter has been charged. But It doesn't seem that they had an original story that they were updating. But the New York Times, there's no article about it. Huffington Post, there's no article about it. The Washington Post, there's no article about it. Now, this is a story that, if you look in the right places, you will find information on, or you will hear about it, but it's more secondhand hearing it. It's not, by watching the news that a lot of people are hearing this. It's social media, I believe, that's probably the biggest outlet of information on this story. But what would the reasoning be for that? What good reason would the mainstream media have to not cover this story? And the one thing that they let everyone come to the conclusion of is that it doesn't fit the racial narrative that they're trying to push. And it's terrible that the death of a 5-year-old, whether they're white, whether they're black, whether they're Hispanic or of any descent, it shouldn't matter. All that should matter is that the story is told and that the information is given. Let people draw their own conclusions. Let people hear the information, just the facts alone. If you want to have opinion pieces on your website stating that it's an opinion, and you can still have those. But it's just sad that anymore that the mainstream media has made it that if it's white on black crime, it's shoved down your throat. You see it all day long. But anytime the rules are reversed, you have to do your own research into finding it out. It's not, you can't find it anywhere. And I'm one that tends to stay up on the news. I try to every day kind of see what's going on, see what people are talking about, people I follow, because that's where I hear about these stories. That's where I hear about young children that are shot and murdered by their next door neighbor. That's where I hear stories where a grown man gets out of a car and sucker punches a kid who's dancing on the sidewalk with his friends. That's where you hear these stories. You're not hearing these stories through the mainstream media. And so many times, time and time again, we're left to draw the conclusion that the reasoning that we're not hearing about these stories from the mainstream media is because it's a crime from a black person committed to a white person. And I don't understand how that's supposed to help solve any racial divides that we have in this country. I mean, when white people see that and then they start putting two and two together and they start paying attention more and more and more, and they keep seeing like, oh wow, this white child was murdered. Why didn't I hear about that? Oh, this white teenager that was dancing on the sidewalk with his friends, he was attacked by a grown man. Why didn't I hear about that? And then when you start seeing that the culprit in a lot of these cases is a black man, then it starts to make us think that could be the only conclusion that we can come to, is it's because it doesn't fit the racial narrative. But I don't see how that's supposed to help fix the racial divide in America. The mainstream media needs to report the news, give people the information, and that's it. That's their job. But we're so far gone from that anymore. And it's sad. It shouldn't matter the race. If a black child was killed by a white man, that is terrible. We should just have the facts. It should be put out just like any other article, whether the culprit's white or black, Hispanic, whatever race. It shouldn't matter. But the mainstream media is so far gone from, I don't know from where they've ever been. I think now with the way social media is and the way the internet is, these big tech companies, they are trying to silence people. But if you look, you can still find stuff. You can still find information. And sadly, I just think that's the way it's going to be from now on. That's the only way you're going to hear about these stories. And it's sad. All that should be focused on is that a young boy was murdered senselessly. But you would never hear about this story. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you even heard about this story. Let me know what you think about the mainstream media. And if you have a different opinion as to why or why not we're not hearing about this story. I'll post links in the description below If you guys want to check out some of the articles about this, it seems like a few things have updated recently with the story. So I will post some links to some of the most recent articles. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate about this child. And it's unfortunate that the media just doesn't put these stories out there. And it's sad that they value race more than passing the information of a story for people to make their own judgments. So I thank you guys for watching the video. I thank you all for your support. It's awesome to see so many people commenting and liking on my last video. So I really do appreciate it. And now that my voice is feeling pretty much back to normal, I'm going to work hard on getting more videos out there for you guys to see. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.